In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can set up a Raspberry Pi 02W from start to finish. If you just bought a Raspberry Pi 02W and you have no idea on where to start, this video is going to help you get everything running step by step. And so let's start the video. Let's see all the things you need before setting up the Raspberry Pi. The first thing, obviously, is the Raspberry Pi 02W itself. Then you need a micro SD card. This is where the operating system will be installed. I recommend using at least a 32GB micro SD card. You can use smaller cards like 16GB, but nowadays I think it's easier to find 32GB. A mini HDMI to HDMI cable or adapter. This is very important. The Raspberry Pi 02W uses mini HDMI, not micro HDMI and not full-size HDMI. This cable lets you connect the Pi to a monitor or TV. A micro USB OTG adapter. Since the Pi 02W only has the micro USB port, you need an OTG adapter if you want to connect a keyboard, a mouse, USB drives or other accessories. And remember, the Pi 02W has two micro USB ports. One is for power and the other one is for data and peripherals. Now that we have the hardware ready, let's prepare the operating system. The first thing you need is the Raspberry Pi Imager software. This is the official tool that allows you to install operating systems into the micro SD card. You can download it from the official Raspberry Pi website. The software is available for Windows, macOS and Linux. Once you install it and open it, you'll see a very simple interface. And honestly, Raspberry Pi Imager makes this setup process incredibly easy. And now let's choose the operating system. Inside the Raspberry Pi Imager, you can explore many different operating systems. You will see Raspberry Pi OS, Media Center systems, retro gaming systems, and many other options. But for most beginners, Raspberry Pi OS is the best choice. Now here you have two main options. One is Raspberry Pi OS Lite. This version has no desktop, no graphical interface, and uses less resources. You control it remotely using SSH through another computer. This option is perfect if you want a server, a headless setup, or a lightweight project. And the good thing is that you don't need a monitor, a keyboard, or a mouse. You basically only need power and Wi-Fi. And the second option is Raspberry Pi OS Desktop. This version includes the full desktop environment with a graphical interface. This is the easiest option for beginners because it behaves more like a normal computer. You can open applications, browse the web, program, and manage files visually. For this video, I'm going to show you the desktop setup. Now let's install the operating system. First, insert the micro SD card into your computer using the adapter. Then, inside Raspberry Pi Imager, select your Raspberry Pi model, choose the operating system, and finally select the micro SD card. Before writing the OS, you can open the advanced settings and pre-configure things like Wi-Fi name and password, username, password, SSH and localization settings, and even this Raspberry Pi connection. This is especially useful for headless setups because the Pi will automatically connect to your Wi-Fi on first boot. Once everything is configured, click Write. Now the Imager will download the operating system, format the micro SD card, and install everything automatically. Depending on your internet speed and SD card speed, this can take a few minutes. Once it finishes, safely remove the micro SD card from your computer. And now it's time to set up the Raspberry Pi itself. First, insert the micro SD card into the slot on the Raspberry Pi 02W. Now let's connect the display. Take the mini HDMI adapter or cable and connect the Pi to your monitor. After that, you can connect the keyboard and mouse using the micro USB OTG adapter. At this point, you should have HDMI connected, keyboard connected, mouse connected, and the micro SD card installed. The only thing left is power. And now let's power on the Raspberry Pi. Connect the power cable to the power micro USB port, and after a few seconds you should see the Raspberry Pi boot screen appear on the monitor. The first boot can take a little longer because the system is configuring itself. Eventually you will arrive at the Raspberry Pi desktop setup. From here you can configure Wi-Fi, update the system, change password, and start using the Pi normally. And that's basically it. Your Raspberry Pi 02W is fully set up and ready to use. As you can see in this video, when I first set up the Raspberry Pi, I added the OTG adapter later after the boot, but it's basically the same thing. Now let's quickly talk about the Lite setup and SSH. If you installed Raspberry Pi OS Lite, you won't see a desktop interface. Instead, you connect remotely from your main computer using SSH. This method is extremely useful because you don't need any HDMI, you don't need any adapters, and you don't need a keyboard or a mouse connected directly to the Pi. You just need the micro SD card, Wi-Fi configuration and power. Then, from your main computer, you can control the Raspberry Pi completely remotely through the terminal. And that's how you set up a Raspberry Pi 02W. And if you have any questions or problems during the setup, leave a comment down below and I'll try to be helpful. But anyway, thank you for watching again, and we're gonna see you next week with another video.